Who's to blame for this fall off? Back in January the 31st, Boro were sitting 18 points clear of Southampton. Now they run the risk of being overtaken by them this midweek. What the hell has happened? Who's to blame? Is it recruitment? Is it the players? Is it the manager? Or some are even blaming the fans? We've got all that debate coming up on this week's episode of Where Boro Walk. Hope you're doing well. We've had a little bit of an Easter break. We're back recharged and refreshed, but completely depressed after that Portsmouth late winner this weekend. Jonathan and Sean are here to give, to vent for some therapy, I think, this week. We're also talking about Conway, Strelic, and does Hellberg deserve a little bit of criticism for the way perhaps he's been setting up these teams for the first time? More on that in a second. Plus, we're choosing our young player of the season. Maybe not the good time to do it, but we are going to have a look at it. And we're doing our A to Z for letter W. Plus, we're looking at the last 4 games of the season as well. How are you both? I feel I should just sit back and let you just rant this week. Jokes aside, Jonathan, though, there are fans that are just saying, things like this. We were abysmal from top to bottom. The club has completely bottled their best chance in years of a chance at playing in the Premier League. And of course, when things go wrong, as things go wrong in a job or in a relationship, people look for blame. So, who are you blaming?
My goodness me. There's so many factors. You know what? I'm not sure it's down to one particular thing. Look, go back a year, right? Go back to summer. Yeah, recruitment I thought was strong defensively. Yeah, we recruited a Britton, a Jones, a Target, a Brown. Because guess what? We were leaky at the back. And that's been, in sense of a season, and defensively, that's been good. Where we're caught short, of course, is in attack. And our recruitment's been a Hansen, a Sen, a Strelic, who have no championship experience. So there's one asset. Confidence, obviously, a problem. Squad depth, you could argue, is not strong. We knew we were going to get injuries. I thought it was Conway, given the amount of running that he does, but it's been Hackney. So losing your talisman, your best player, that's going to impact on players. Teams coming to turning up and not playing, just putting 10 behind the ball. And as we've seen, you don't have to be 11 brilliant players just to go be defensive. There's that, and us not being able to find a way around it. So there's a lot of reasons to be honest with you, and I don't think it's one in particular. I think it's a combination of the lot. Would be my thought. I'll change my mind tomorrow, but that's what I think today.
Sean, lots of people are pointing their finger at Gibson. I don't know how fair that is, because last time I checked, he was not a number 9 striker. But Roll says recruitment in January was the issue. The biggest problem was Conway scored a couple around that size. So they probably thought it was job done. Strelic is as much use as Anne Frank's drum kit, which I thought was a good line. I don't know. Oops, the wrong one. Sean, for you?
Yeah, it's really difficult, isn't it? Because the recruitment, as Jonathan alluded to, the defence side of it, I think we got quite right. But those key players at the top end of the pitch that win your games either haven't kicked on or made the impact we would have wished. I think there's a few in there that when a new head coach comes in, they either fancy him or they don't. They're their kind of player or they're not. And I think we haven't really seen enough of the likes of Senny and Hansen to judge for ourselves on the pitch whether they're good enough or not. I mean, if we trust the head coach, we would surmise that they're not good enough because he's seeing what's happening on the training ground, and he's clearly, he's sort of in a indirect way alluded to the fact that they haven't really been putting it in without saying so much. He said that he was happier with their output and stuff, and so he's giving them a chance. But is it more that we've been scratching around and struggling so much that he's looking for an answer somewhere? Because we seem a little bit desperate at the minute.
As much as everyone might agree with you, I mean, if we look at this, for example, from the game yesterday, this is Sean on Twitter, says, I run an under-9s team and all my players would have a go at goal from this position. Confidence is shot with Conway. And it's not just having a go at Tommy Conway here, Jonathan, because as we mentioned, we've got Strelic and others that haven't done the business, but you'd expect your striker to have a go there, wouldn't you?
You'd expect a confident striker to have a go there, yeah. And I think that just demonstrates Conway doesn't have the confidence at the minute. Because, yeah, you're right. When you're on the crest of a wave and everything's going for you, you take that chance. And it doesn't bother you that you miss. But, and also the fella, what you've got to say is the chances that those lads do get, even though we play against 10 men at the back, and the teams come to defend, we always create a chance, but we just don't take them. We're just not clinical from any position, whether it be Conway, Strellick, whether it be, I think basically everyone's had a shot at goal. I think maybe apart from Ayling, I think, and everyone's had a gilt-edged chance that they've missed. So I think confidence, mentality comes into it. I also think as well, the irony wasn't lost to me that Pompey came. They had a corner at the 96th minute, whatever it was, 97th minute. The fella then took the opportunity to have a shot from the outside of a box. It bobbled around. It happened to drop well for them, and it went in. And versus our technical, right, set it up like this, go down the line, play direct, the things that Hellberg, how he wants them to play. And Merson said this before the Sheffield United game. And what he said was he hadn't seen Hellberg's team. He said, free-flowing, attacking football, high press is all very well when you're doing well and when you're confident. It's very hard to do when you're not confident. And that seems to have come on to roost. And there seems to be a lot of overthinking, a lot of too many touches, a lot of bit more dwell time on the ball. And that always suggests lack of confidence. And yeah, Conway just epitomised that with that you've just demonstrated there, Mark, for sure. Yes,
yeah. I mean, Chris has gone on to say, the club decided to add Sarmiento to the mix, who's the worst January signing since Iheanacho. Don't get me started on Conway. He runs around with zero substance, and there's the counter argument, Sean, isn't it? That he works hard, he chases lost causes, he's got endeavour, he's got passion, but it's no good when you haven't got an end product.
No, and there's that phrase, isn't there? It's a bit of a cliche, but you miss 100% of the chances that you don't. No, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, and we're just not having shots in the right time. There was a few efforts yesterday from Hansen and McGree, but they were, outside the box or ones that you shouldn't expect to score from. But like Jonathan said, they were having a pop at goal, and it very nearly came off. But I don't know, it's the whole tempo as well. And I don't know if that's a Hayden Hackney thing, because he sets the tempo with driving forward. Sometimes I think we're a bit laboured. When we have Brown and Morris, I don't know if the balance is quite correct. They're both very good on the ball and they're very robust, but they don't have that zip and energy to sort of trigger an attacking phase. And I felt like we didn't have their defenders running back to their own goal enough. There was a lot of crosses. I think a while back, Hellberg alluded to crosses from deep, and he wanted them to play a few 1-2s and get to the byline and have them running back. And we didn't have any of that kind of guile or pace to get in behind them at all. It was all really played in front of them. And we didn't move them around the pitch enough. So it was so, abject, insipid, all those things that you don't really want to say about your football team. It really felt yesterday, and what's that now, 2 wins in 11 or something. It's getting difficult to defend that style, as you say, without the substance to back it up.
Yeah, and you know what, Sean, you said about getting to the byline. You know what, the only player I'm talking about, I like Target and Britain. I don't mind them lads at all. But Bangura, when he's on, and I'm sad as hell that he got injured, to be honest with you, because he did go to the byline. He did offer pace. Yeah. He did offer width. And I think we've been lacking that all season. And that's even back to the Edwards time. You play 3 centre-backs and then wing-backs, you've got to have width. And I see as narrow far too often and not going to the byline. And hence why the Portsmouth thing, I think, was ironic. The fact that get to the byline, stick it in. Yeah, right, we don't have the best header of the ball, but who knows what might happen. Whack it in and get your opportunity. But then you get the opportunity and they ain't bloody taking them. So it's a bit of a rock and a hard place. I have to say it's a tough one. I've got to say, and I'm with Sean. It's baffling, to be honest with you, to be that good only a month or so ago and then to drop the level so much. Hard to fathom, to be honest with you.
Cheers for that, both. There's been a lot written about Hellberg himself this weekend from different sources. I've read a couple saying he's not the person to take us forward next season, which is, of course, I think is absolute nonsense. There's been suggestions he's had a fallout with Whittaker. Maybe some players aren't, like you say, buying into him. I mean, he swore in the press conference on Friday, dropped the F-bomb. Then he had a go at the players at half. Well, called out the players for the first time at his press conference yesterday. Sean, is he starting to crack himself? I
think we're seeing a bit more of the personality underneath. I think we'd seen a few snippets in the behind-the-scenes training, and we felt like there was a little bit more steel behind that persona and easygoing sort of Swedish personality in front of the cameras. But I think he's, like you say, we've had all kinds of tactics. We've had that one's on me, it's not the players. The other day he said, where they clearly didn't listen to a word I said in the first half. That was on the players. They didn't do what I asked, basically. I think the F-bomb, I think some people may think it was a bit contrived and like he meant to do it as a bit of a gimmick, but I don't think it was. I think he just sort of forgot himself a little bit. And again, that character revealed itself in those sort of pressure moments. But yeah, the interesting thing is when we won 5 on the bounce, we were playing better teams. And I think we're very much more equipped to play better teams. But that is coaching. He's got to find a way to play the other teams that won't allow you to do that. They won't all come onto you. I think Carrick liked that. He used to let the centre-backs keep the ball and drag it back and wait for teams to come onto you. It doesn't always happen. And especially in this league where we're considered one of the top dogs, you have to find a different way, and we haven't at the minute.
Yeah. Let's look at the remaining 4 games then, shall we? I know you don't want to, but look at it. There are some suggestions, Jonathan, that you might not even make the playoffs on this form, and that Wrexham game at the end of the season could essentially be a 7th versus 6th, all guns out shootout for the playoff position. I mean, you're not going to fall off that much, are we? You can't see a situation where you don't end up in the playoffs at all.
Well, I don't know. I read Wrexham lost, haven't they? Just today, haven't they? And I think, are we 8 points above them with 4 to go? I think they're 7th, and so I think playoffs should be. You'd never say safe, but you're right. Well, given we haven't won for what was it, 11? Was it, Sean? Like you said earlier, was it 11?
I think 2 wins in 11. I think.
Yeah, sorry, 2 wins in 11. Ipswich away. Who knows? Sheff Wednesday, they've won for 100 games or whatever it is, and they're down and dead and buried. So that's just got absolute tripe written all over it. Watford can turn. I don't know what. I've lost touch with Watford. They stuffed us 3-0 at their place, but then they've been yo-yoing, haven't they? So
they're not playing well. Yeah, they're on the beach. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Wrexham. I don't know. I mean, look. Based on facts, you've got to say a couple of draws in there, and if we're lucky, we might get a win. I think is what I say. Based on what we've seen for the last 6 games. I'll tell you what I will say is this: is that you talk about all the strategies and all the lineups. It was 11v11, yeah, and even without Acme and Whittaker, don't tell me that the 11 lads on Portsmouth, at Charlton, at Blackburn were 11 better players than what we can put out on the pitch. And yet they find a way to nick a point or nick a goal or something like that. And anyway, drives me nuts. And that's what I'm saying. It's 11v11 for them 4 games. And Ipswich have got quality. The other 3, we can match them. But we don't know whether we got the mentality to. Who knows?
Yeah.
Based on the evidence, we haven't.
Yeah. What about the fans and the fallout from the Riverside then, Sean? So some are saying that, all this conversation, even people like us aren't helping, the situation by piling the expectation on the players. The atmosphere is nervous, it's jittery. I mean, when that Portsmouth goal went in, of course, you were there. You heard the reaction. If you're a player hearing all this and the noise around the club, it's not going to help, is it? Some fans are saying, look, all you lot just need to calm down and just back these players 100%.
It's not, but they've had plenty of backing this season. They to an extent, they knew what the pressure was at the beginning of the season. Nobody's hidden at the club. Everybody's said promotion is the aim, after that really good start. Happens to all clubs. Pressure gets to fans as well as players. I think that's just something that's got to be accepted. I watched the Arsenal-Bournemouth game, and the Emirates was, not toxic, but it was very, very nervy, and the fans were on edge, and it's getting to the nitty-gritty, and they could very well throw it away. Not in the style that we seem to have self-imploded recently, but it's par for the course. And when Jonathan said everything's going well, every department gets praise: fans, players, backroom staff, head coach. When it's going wrong, we're all looking around it. Is it the fans? Is it Gibson not putting his hand in his pocket? Is it the players? Is it the recruitment? Is it, So this is what happens because everyone gets frustrated and people want to, lament and throw their anger at people, and that's what's going to happen. I think the players need to stand up and show a bit of steel, I think, like Jonathan said.
Yeah, you know what? And if you're getting paid 10 grand a week, bloody right, you should show some steel. That's the other thing. I mean, wages are a big problem in Championship football. Mark, you put a couple of tweets out recently about the state of finances, yeah? Well, if you're getting paid that much bloody money, damn right you better show up and you better, I'm not saying they're not putting an effort in, but for God's sakes, you can't do what you did yesterday for that amount of money if you're getting paid like that.
Yeah. Well, look, we all have, full-time jobs, and I'm pretty sure we're all under pressure plenty of times, and it wouldn't really wash if we said to our superiors, "Oh, sorry, I was under pressure. I did X, Y, and Z," and you've got a duty. That's what you're paid for.
Yeah, exactly right. You know what you're getting into when you get into the profession. You know what the crowd's like. Some are up, some are down. We're a bunch of yo-yos, aren't we? You know what I mean? We're cheering when you're winning. We're hating you when you're losing. It's part of the game of football, isn't it? Deal with it.
Yeah.
Good stuff. There's been a graph done this week of Championship goalkeepers and shot stopping. Just to bring you up on this one, because it's drawn a lot of commentary from Boro fans. Some quite divisive comments, of course, on Bryn here, Sean, who ends up in this bracket probably you don't want to be in, which is that he's facing lower quality shots and not really saving them. And then that ties into perhaps his performance with that one shot on target yesterday. I don't think he could have really done much about it, but others want to debate that. So a simple question for you, Sean. He hasn't cost you. The reason you are fourth is not because of Sol Bryn, is it? But do you need a better goalkeeper next season?
The jury is definitely out, and it's for a few reasons. I don't want to hammer Bryn too much. I think he's done okay. I think in goalkeeping terms, he's a relatively young keeper. I would have liked Middlesbrough to have been in a position where we have somebody else with a bit of experience for a couple of reasons, to maybe bring them in if needed in certain games and give him a breather, but also to learn from. So I think Bryn and Zach Hemming were both on loan consistently, maybe 2 or 3 seasons, and they both, plied their trade at lower league clubs and did really well. And we decided to go with Bryn, but he's not really been here under the tutelage of a recognised sort of experienced keeper. And we got rid of a few others and we brought somebody in. I don't really know much about McLaughlin. I don't know if any of the other Boro fans do, but he's got nowhere to hide really, and it's tough. I think in context, I think he's had a decent season. If he's at another club, it doesn't get highlighted, but he's at a club that's chasing or was chasing automatic promotion. So every little flaw or mistake is highlighted, I think.
Yeah,
is Mark Travers...
Sorry, Mark.
Mark Travers...
Sorry, go on.
Is Mark Travers a better keeper, Jonathan, at Everton?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he did well for us on loan last season, didn't he? But it's hard with Bryn because he doesn't have any competition. And we did a transfer show back in December, and Sarah picked up on it too. She was like, "Yeah, I'd like to see another keeper come in because Bryn's still learning the trade. He's a young lad. He's done all right. He's got some mistakes in him, but he's doing all right." And I think Sean's spot on with that. And you know what, Mark, that's another thing that, people talk about the keeper and they're digging him out a little bit, but he had nothing to do yesterday. There's nothing he could do about that. But also they're right digging out the January transfer, yeah? And you think about what the club did in January. They bought a couple of kids in Castledene and Monroe. They bought a fellow who's barely played in Sarmiento. And we didn't get, that was pretty much it. Oh, and we got that keeper, wheeled fellow, whatever his name is, who came in as backup, But and that, if you look at that you've got to question the club. How committed were they to run with promotion? Now, at the time, we were doing all right, weren't we? So everyone's like, we should be all right. But stick a couple of injuries in there, stick a loss of form. Where's your depth? And I think that's a fair argument for Bryn to say, where's the depth in keeping? It isn't there. And that's an argument.
I think January when it's notoriously difficult to get like long-term players that you see a future for. I think we should have been looking, like you said, for experienced professionals who we know can cut it in this kind of environment. And surely there must have been a few more around. You're right, Jonathan, to go for Castledene and Monroe, who were never really going to come in and go straight into the first team and play week in, week out, because we didn't know their level. We couldn't afford to bed them in and stuff. So, yeah, a bit disappointing we didn't get that experience in, I think.
Yeah, and look what happens when you do. Look what happened to our defence when we stuck a Jones who's got experience, a Britton in there who's got experience, a Brown who's got experience, a Target. Guess what? We ain't conceding. and then we stick up top and we don't put any experience in there, some championship heads, and it's not working so good. It's not working at all at the minute. So it's tough one at the moment. Yeah, tough.
Right, let's round up this debate then. Only one word answer then to this question. Jonathan, who's to blame, please? Recruitment, strikers, management, fans. One word.
That's a shit of a question. One word. Yeah, fuck it. I'll go recruitment.
Okay, Sean, same to you.
I'm tempted to say players because, like we've said, there's enough quality in there to be winning more games than we have done lately, I think.
Yeah. Good that we give
massive game next Sunday on Sky, then away at Ipswich. Join us next week when Craig and Sarah will be back. Sarah's at an event this evening, which has been held at Boro. Looking at the promotion side, is it?
Yes, right. The 15, correct side that went up. Yeah.
We'll ask about that next week. Then, what they are missing is we're carrying on our awards. So we've already done goal of the season. Now it's time for the Young Player of the Season award. Don't ask me what qualifies for young anymore. Who knows? But you get the idea. Certainly none of us qualify. I'm afraid. I don't think. No offense. Sean, the Young Player of the Season for Boro, when it's awarded at the end of the season, should be?
Well, tricky one. As he said, what is young? I mean, if we're classing sort of 23 and under, Hackney probably wins all awards that are going. I suppose outside of Hackney, we don't really have that many young players in the first 11. It's been nice to see Cruz eBay make the squad quite a few times, and hopefully that'll give him a good grounding to kick on. And I think McCormick as well stepped in a few times and looks like he might have a future, but probably not look beyond Hackney, I should think.
Jonathan?
Yeah, it's got to be, I don't even know. Is Hackney 23? Is that what it is? Is he 22, 23, is he? I think it's got to be him, hasn't it? And John, spot on. I don't. When you said young player, I was like, bloody hell, Bryn, I guess. I don't know what age he is, but he's dropped to
25, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think Hackney then. Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Right, that just leaves us then for the A to Z discussion. And this week the letter is W. So I'm going to leave you in these two's company to discuss and debate all the W's you could possibly think of. And I will catch up with you next week. Here's Jonathan and Sean discussing the final easy letter of our run, because it's X, Y, and Z for that next week. Join us for that. Thank you for watching from me. Here's Jonathan and Sean.
Blimey. You know what? I've got a few W's, Sean, that I reckon I can bring up, but I think there's only one winner, and I don't know if you're going to agree, to be honest. Well, I think there's only one W that stands out more than anybody, but I've got a few in there, though.
Well, I was prepared for you coming with wartime. That's what I was preparing.
Well, obviously, it is going to get a mention, yes, of course, in the ones I've got. So, should we get that one out of the way then first?
Go on.
The wartime is the First World War, and it's actually the fella who played in goal from us from 1901 to 1923, which is Tim Williamson, and he's our all-time highest appearance player. So he played 602 times for Boro in goal, and of course he played in the famous 1913-14 team that finished third in the top flight, and he played 7 times for England too. So he was obviously a decent keeper. So I mean, I'm kind of storming in with that would be my W, hands down, for Boro, just given he is our record appearance fella, played in goal and played in the team that had our highest ever finish. But there's some good other W's in there too, I reckon.
Well, that's fair. Let's talk about the other ones that may or may not rival it then. So we've got Wembley, obviously, which we had, 3 finals in 2 seasons. We've got World Cup winners. What did we have? The little fella, Branco, Christian Carambo.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
What else we got? Paul Wilkinson.
Yeah, Wilco was my other biggie, I have to say. Leading goal scorer. He was a proper player for us, that lad. And also, when he scored that 1-0 against Newcastle and the limbs in the Boro team, was it 91 or 90? Boxing Day 90, I think it was. Just for that alone. But Wilco is a definite massive shout for a W.
Loved the old cycling shorts underneath, didn't he? Well, Wilco.
He did as well. You know, there's a few
They had
others.
like a little one and big one partnership, him and Hendry, didn't they? Worked really well.
Yeah, he did well for us. You know what I mean? You'd actually fancy him in a Helberg team, to be honest with you. I think he'd do all right.
Yeah.
He'd definitely poach a few goals in there. So Wilco's big shout. Gotta say big Wheats just because he's obviously Boro fan through and through. So Wheat, even though I think the majority of his games were Bolton, in fairness, but he's a Boro lad. He's back in Boro. He's always on the scene. I think him and Iggy do a bit of a podcast as well on the Boro channel. So,
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be fair, a local lad as well, making the team when we were in the Premier League and stuff like that. He was getting games and stuff. So, I mean, Derek Whitey was pretty solid.
Yeah, I got Derek White in there. Yeah, Woodgate, of course, in the more for his defensive stuff. I've got to say, I've got question marks over him as a coach and a head coach, but I think as a player, he was undeniably a fantastic centre back. Yeah, on a world scale, for God's sake.
He was class. He was class. And when he came back over, and I think I was on holiday at the time, and I remember watching Arsenal Boro, and it was a masterclass. I think they had Henry and all those sort of enigmatic talents up front, and he just played fantastically well. Really classy defender. So yeah, but I don't think we can really look past yours. In fairness, you've put across a very strong case.
Yeah, I think Tim Williamson or Wilco, and I got my mind when I was having a little bit of read through it. I've got to say it was Tim Williamson with his 602, and obviously then it allows me to mention the war as well. So and finishes there, of course. So, I got that book, that Harry Glasper book, which with all the tables and the records and all that kind of stuff, and it's a fantastic book. I have to say, the amount of
I bet that's impressive, actually.
Yeah. It's well worth a look, I have to say. So I'm stats galore now.
I can almost see Craig and Sarah typing already in the comments.
Obviously with W, I wonder what Craig would have had for his Howson situation. No, they are, Craig. We've mentioned Howson. I don't know how he's connected to W in some way, and I'm sure
he'll find a way.
Comments how he is, because he'll have something.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So I guess that wraps it up then.
The nod, I reckon. We'll have that, shall we?
Yeah. Let's see what anyone else comes up with in the comments. But
definitely.
Please challenge it in the comments if you feel like there's a better one.
Yeah, please do. And don't forget to subscribe as well. If you watch this channel on a regular basis, stick the old subscribe. In fact, do it now while you're watching. Go and press the old subscribe button and stick us on, because apparently old Mark says that it does him favours for the channel and gets found and all that kind of stuff. So stick a subscribe on if you're watching. Otherwise, we're back next week. I'm actually at Portman Road. The Boro lads are coming down, I think, and I think we're looking forward to the social. There'll be 90 minutes of hell in between, and then a nice bit of social afterwards. So God knows what that's.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Typical Boro. We might just turn up and win, but you never know.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. All right. Cheers for that.
Well,
see you next week.
Have a good one.